So welcome everybody to day 2 of our Reconnect, Reset and Rejuvenate Summit. I am so happy that this morning kicking us off is the amazing Luz Restrepo. I hope I have pronounced that right. How do you pronounce it, Luz?
Luz Restrepo.
Luz Restrepo. It sounds much better when you say it. So Luz is an amazing woman, and I'm so happy that she has agreed to participate in our summit, because I feel, Luz, that you stand for many women here without a voice. So we'll learn a little bit more about that as you talk, but I feel like Luz represents women who can't, don't get to express themselves or be their true selves in Australia because of English language problems, or they're a political migrant. So Luz arrived in Australia in 2010, so 10 years ago, Luz, now, at the age of 45, seeking political asylum from Colombia. So she had very little English, no connections and social network, and very little money. But despite those hardships, which would have been barriers to succeed for many people, Luz has an amazing story. She has set up many businesses and helped many, many women. And Luz, I'd love for you to tell us about you and a little bit of your story. How you arrived here, and then how did you get to where you are now, which is helping and giving a voice to so many women?
Okay, probably I need to say that when people have the tools, women who has Western education, who has a job, we can move whatever place we want. It's going to be hard in the beginning, but we need to be very grateful with life when we have our education and we have the tools to move forward. 10 years ago, I came here seeking political asylum, but probably the thing that put me disadvantage 10 years ago was that I spoke no English. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have money. I didn't have friends. And I was with a deep depression after my political issues in Colombia, feeling guilty because I put my family in poverty in this country. Our youngest daughter learned English in 3 months.
Wow.
And she became my interpreter.
Wow.
And I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills and how I was going to rebuild my life if I lost everything. Yeah.
You were, am I right in thinking that you were a GP? So you came from a high, wealthy system in Colombia and were used to kind of the high life. And then when you came seeking political asylum here, you went from having a very nice life to suddenly having nothing, no connections, and then you carrying this guilt that many women can identify with, but maybe not on such a massive scale, because you've just pulled your whole family from everything they know to start again. And how old were your children then?
My youngest at that time was 11 years old, in the middle of teenager, yes, punishing myself because I take her away from her friends, where it's the most important time, And this is the beginning of this country. Probably my switch off was when I went in free English classes in community centers, because there were no money to pay my English classes. The only way was to travel 2 hours far from where I live to go to community centers. And in these outdoor community centers, I found women like me, lack of English and lack of confidence. But the difference was that I was newly arrived, 6 months in this country, and they were long-term settled in Australia.
Okay.
Long-term unemployed.
Okay.
And my question was why these women are in English classes with me. And this is when I realized my privilege. These women came from refugee camps. These women were moms from 12, 14 years old. These women never worked and never studied before. These women used to live in a different culture to the Western culture. And they were with me probably my teacher and the resources that Australia have for women with low level of literacy and cultural understanding and no work experience are the same for people like me. This obviously the teacher was just for me. I was asking synonymous, antonyms, past participle, future, and these women were struggling to write their name. Yeah. And I just found that there was a gap in the system. Yeah. And in that point of time, my switch changed. And I said, this has been happening 200 years in Australia. The Vietnamese mom, the Italian moms, the Greek moms, the African moms who come here looking after for the families, they move backwards and our families move forward. Yeah. We need to do something different, that we need to encourage ourselves to move outside of our homes together.
So you did something incredible. And now today, how many women would you say that you've helped? And then please tell us about the opportunities and the businesses that you set up to help them.
The amount of women is amazing, because the impact in this point of time is around 1,000 women. Amazing. 1,000 women from 70 countries, different 70 countries. Moms and carers over 20 years old. The thing that I did was the power of women working together. Yes, if I have some knowledge, you have some knowledge, everybody has a knowledge. Why do not work together to complement our skills? And this is the power of the community working together and the power of women. The idea was to learn by doing how to pay our bills. Yeah. We start making and selling handicrafts in our homes, selling in free markets around Melbourne. Yeah. And because my background is business, at the end I am a businesswoman. I just start to realize how to use their skills, that they can put money in their dinner tables. A craft, spent a lot of time to do it, and not everybody buy a craft, but we could do ethical products in scale, in teams, and this is how SisterWorks start to come up.
So your company that you started was SisterWorks, and I love the name anyway. So it was SisterWorks, and you were helping women from all different countries, migrants with little English, to use their skills that they have to get money by selling crafts at local markets and around Melbourne. But because they did have those skills before, but what they didn't have before was you organizing all of that and arranging how you would do it together. So that was, I think, the amazing thing that you did. You know, you really got to work despite the barriers that you had. You made a business and you helped not only yourself, but you helped those other women too.
But this is not just taking advantage of our skills and connecting us with you. Because if we don't connect new migrants with the main street community, we are going to be isolated in our ghettos. Yes. And we are not going to get opportunities. We are not going to learn the language, and our children are not going to have opportunities.
Yes. Yeah.
This is how we connect people, women with different backgrounds, different expertise, to work together. And this was the trick. And this has been probably my talent or my superpowers, to connect women, to support each other through a common vision. Yeah. Put money in the dinner table, economic empowerment of women.
Yeah, it was amazing. And what I'd love to dig into, because this summit is all about how do we overcome the challenges that we've had. And for most of us, when we hear we've all had challenges this year in our families and our businesses in some way. We've all been challenged by this year. But many of us, when we hear a story like yours, it puts things into perspective a little bit. And that's not to belittle anybody's problems. Anybody's problems are challenges to themselves. But what I'd love to dig into, Luz, is how you overcame the challenges that you had at that time? What was going on in your mind? What makes you be able to not just survive political asylum and all the things going on in your family, but then thrive and rise and bring other women with you and help them too? What were the tips and tricks? What were the strategies and tools that you use when you had really difficult, challenging circumstances to rise up and thrive because of that?
I think because this question has been in my mind since we meet together, I think I will have three things. The first thing is how to live present in the present.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The future, the past, our experience are things that are going to give us tools, but I can live in the past.
Yes.
I couldn't keep grieving myself because of the thing that we lost.
Yeah.
Is just try to identify of the past, what are the tools that I got now that I could use now.
Yes.
But don't anchor my life in the past.
Yes.
And the future, we build the future in the present.
Yes.
Tomorrow is the present of tomorrow. The future is the present of tomorrow. This is how to be present in the present, taking the experience of the past and dreaming.
Yeah.
Because at the end, as a human beings, we build is about dreams.
Yes.
Dreams is that when I found for first time in my life in a vulnerable situation, I knew that I was still a privileged woman.
Yeah.
I was in a poverty with little English, with no money, but I had education. I have tools. I know how to work. I know how to make friends. So I take advantage of this and start to have a vision. My vision became be a voice of migrant women economic empowerment.
Amazing. And let me just dig in a little bit deeper, because that sounds very easy to do, but I know that's not easy to do. So when we have those thoughts of the past that could potentially drag us back, and in my work, we talk about how we can get addicted to emotions as well. So they're very powerful, those emotions, whether it's unjust or, you know, regret or guilt or fear. They're very strong and they drive our thoughts. So when you are, how do you do it specifically? So is it consciously when that thought comes in, you just say to yourself, no, back in the present? Do you have like a breathing exercise that you use to come back into the present? Or how was it for you that made you able to do it?
I am at the moment in the second time, I have, life is around ups and downs. Yeah. And the downs keep going if you don't manage your mind. If you don't, in these 2 or 3 voices that you have inside, you allow your overthinking to take your mind. I think each of us are our best coach or the person who will stop us. Yeah. And this is, as you said, it's just to bad thinkings put under the carpet and keep working. Be busy. Don't worry. Be busy. Is around your vision. It's around the feeling of transcendence. Yeah. Because life is not just around things and stuff. It's around to feel useful for other people and for the community. And probably this is the feeling that push you. Don't worry. You have a lot to think. Keep going. Yeah.
I think that's so powerful, Luz. I think that's going to help so many women, because I think what you're saying is, you know, the past is going to drag us back there. So we have to just focus on the vision of what we want to become, knowing that we're fortunate we're here, we have tools, we have education, we might have food on the table, you know, being grateful for the things that we have in the present, and then keeping a really clear vision on the future of what we want to create. because that's going to become our present in the future. That's what we're going, which is such a powerful message. But everybody that's, everybody that's here has gone through this year. That's the thing, isn't it? It's not to go over the past year. It's now. This is the prime opportunity to put the year behind us and look forward to the future and just start to create what we want next year. And then there was something else you said, transcendence. I absolutely love that you brought that in. It's like, just becoming a new version of yourself. And why are we here? We're here to be a better version of ourselves and to help other people along the way. And you really embody that. So I really salute you and thank you for that, because you're an amazing woman to have done that. So awesome. Please continue. So that was number one.
I think so was to be present in the present. The other is gratitude. Gratitude with the thing that you have. Yeah. Sometimes you just you see the glass empty, half empty, instead to see the glass half fill it. I have not sure if it's the correct word. Yeah. But it's gratitude with the thing that you have. Yeah.
Yeah.
And gratitude with everything that you have. I'm in a safe country. I have a roof. I have a food to put in the table today. I don't know tomorrow, but today I have this. I have friends. I have a talent. Gratitude with what we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the second one, and the third one is when you do not have money, you need to make friends. Yeah. Right. How do you connect? How you develop this connection of people.
Yeah.
Yes? That at the end, and I am struggling all the time because my strong accent and probably my behavior and my non-verbal communication can be different to Australians or to England or other cultures. I am from Latin America, yeah. And I also understood that to make friends, I need to make myself vulnerable and start to express what is happening with me and in my interactions. And it's working.
So let me just check what you said. You said that you realized to make those connections that are meaningful, you have to let yourself be seen. You have to let your vulnerable self be seen. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes people says you are so refreshing. But it's try to be honest of who I am.
Yeah.
Try to be honest of my background and to learn from the new culture, but allow the two cultures to be together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And allow people who has low level of multicultural connections to have the experience to enjoy our company. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this has been the way that I am starting to make connections, because the value what I have built in these 10 years, that is just the beginning, is thanks to the possibility to talk with you, to work next to you. Yeah. And no against you, is with you, building together.
Yeah. And I think that your third point was so powerful, because for me, I heard 2 points within your third point, which was connectiveness. So making sure we've got those social connections, and not just from somebody who's come here with political asylum and needs those connections to survive, but for all of us, we need connections. We're human beings. And I think this year has been really tough for that, because it's isolated us and it's tried to as a result, we've been a bit disconnected. So I think making sure that we maintain those connections is super important, isn't it? And also then you said showing your vulnerability. And that speaks of Brené Brown's work. I'm sure you're familiar with Brené Brown and the vulnerability, the power to be courageous. She talks about we have to be vulnerable to build real friendships, to build true connections, because otherwise we've always sort of got a facade, and we don't actually allow our true self to be seen, and then you can't make a true connection. And she says that being vulnerable is the most courageous thing you can do, to drop the mask, because we're all struggling in some way. And so once we drop the masks and we show our true selves, and we show those parts of us that we want to hide to be safe, so once we let those go, we have true connections. And I think that's what you're talking about. And that doesn't helps you practically, but it also helps you, to build those soul connections, those real connections that are going to sustain your mental health as well as help practically. So I think that's really powerful. Thank you so much for considering those and bringing those to us. I think we can all learn from those learnings.
Because I learned also here that 4 years ago I went to Uluru. I got my citizenship, and one of my friends, my Australian friends, invited me to go to Uluru. And 4 years ago, when you were in Uluru, there is a sign that the indigenous Australian put there saying, please come to connect with the rock instead to conquest the top. Yeah. And this is the message. Here we are not to conquest or to compete with someone else. We are here to connect. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. That's so powerful. Yes, so true. What a beautiful analogy for Australia. Yes, thank you. So, Luz, I'm asking everybody in this summit 3 questions, because we are here, reconnecting, resetting, and rejuvenating. You've already talked a lot about connecting, but I would like to ask you, these holidays, what or with whom are you going to reconnect with?
Probably I'm going to reconnect with myself. with myself and my dreams. And sometimes in life you have clear what is your why. I have very clear my why in life, but sometimes the way that you build your why need to understand is a little bit more the how, and how to protect myself at the same time, because I am workaholic. It's a lot of passion, a lot of obsessiveness to change the world of migrant women in Australia. Yeah. This is just to take the energy and to reconnect with myself, to understand what I'm going to do and what I am not going to do. Yeah.
I love that. So that might tie in with the next one, which is resetting. So with what or whom are you going to reset these holidays? What are you going to what does that mean to you? Resetting.
Resettings. I'm a very strong woman, yeah, who speak my mind. I work very well with people who are able to work in the same way, but sometimes not everybody are the same like me. It's probably the resetting is more about empathy. Mm-hmm. Empathy, how to put in the shoes of the other, that we have that we have a empathetic communication, that we can keep working together. Still, we think differently. Yeah, we think different, and I need to reset that, because I can't expect that other person change unless I change my connection with that person. And this is something that I am working in life. With 55 years old, life is around communications, yeah. But yeah, it's more the empathetic point of view of the other, different view, like me. It's easy when you have someone who thinks similar to you or behave similar to you, but it's not easy when the person.
And thank you for bringing that. I honestly think, I've been talking a lot about this. I talk in schools and with kids and teachers as well. And I think that if we all improved our empathic communication, we would make a massive difference in the world. Because, you know, imagine if we could bring the next generation up who didn't react when they met somebody that held different views to themselves, and instead they sat back and thought about really how they came to the thoughts and the decisions and the actions that they did, because it doesn't make sense to them. You know, instead of assuming that they're wrong and I'm right, just the first thing would be to try and understand how they got there. I just think we change the world if we can do that. So I love that you're doing that. I love that you're doing that in your community as well, which is Migrant Women in Business. I was just reading the chat there. Somebody's saying such powerful wisdom again this morning. Empathic communication. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Camilla. And we didn't get to say that your first business was SisterWorks, which was with empowering other migrant women to make money and livelihoods with their craft. But now you're the founder of Migrant Women in Business. So a whole new enterprise, which I know is growing and growing and growing, and is amazing, amazing thing. And we'll send out information about it. But your third question, before I let you go, this is the Reconnect, Reset, Rejuvenate Summit. So Luz, how are you going to rejuvenate these holidays?
I learned also here in Australia. It's fun because you are younger if you decide to be younger all your life, and this is something that Australians do very, very well. Yeah. In my country, someone who has 60 years old is already old. Yes. And they are already preparing themselves to die. Yeah. Wow. And it's like a set in the mind that my time is over. Yeah. Wow. And here we are younger. I have a lot. My majority. I live in Mornington Peninsula. That is a people where there is a big concentration of people in retired. Yes. And my friends, that I have friends from 80, 88 years old. Yes. And they are younger. They are. Yeah. I always forget what is the age of people, because at the end is the attitude of people around life. Yeah.
Yes.
How to be younger forever. Yeah.
60 is age now.
I don't know if I answered the question, Sally, but
you're getting there. How are you going to rejuvenate? So I love. Well, maybe you did answer, because you said you know that the attitude is the most important thing to keep you young and keep you fresh and keep you, keep you in your young life. So how are you going to maintain that? These holidays, is there something you're going to do for you? Because you spend so much time doing all these things for other women. Is there something that you're going to do to rejuvenate yourself?
Oh, the other thing that I think so the world is teaching us now is around the what you are eating. Yes, how you are going to change your habits and start to be, because it's not just a diet to lose weight. It's around how with the thing that you eat, you contribute to keep this planet alive or not. Yeah, this is part of the process. And the connections, we have a piece of land in the countryside of Victoria. I would like to live in the countryside of Victoria. I think there is a lot of opportunities in the countryside of Victoria. And there we are planting trees, and probably I'm going to go to spoil my baby trees in the summertime. This is our way to reconnect with nature. Yeah,
connect with nature, and that rejuvenates you as well as the land. That's it. That's incredible. So finally, Luz, what is for everybody, for all women who might feel a bit shaken by the past year, might feel a bit challenged, what do you think is your top tip to offer to them? Coming from somebody who's gone through a lot and risen up and thrived, what would be your top tip?
Whether it's top tip is the future is building in the present, and the future is female. It's women's time. It's our time to change, to take the leadership and change the dynamic of the world. Don't worry about yourself. Worry about all of us. And we together can do it. But we need live in the present with a clear way, transcend in life and connect each other to do this. It's our time. Yes, don't worry. Be busy changing the world.
Amazing. What a powerful lesson. I really think that everybody hears that, you know, more and more. Thank you so much, Luz. So much wisdom. Thank you so much with your time.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank you for everything that you do. I wish you the very, very best for these holidays, resetting, rejuvenating, and all the best for next year. We'll speak next year, I'm sure. You take care of yourself. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for inviting me. Thank you to you all for listening.
Thank you so much, Luz.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Does anybody have any questions for Luz? She's still here. We could still grab her. Does anyone have any questions for her or anything you want to ask her while she's here? Or what was your biggest takeaway? You know that I'm going to ask you this question all the time now. What was your big takeaway from Luz? There was so much there for me, and I just loved how you've ended just letting us know. I feel the same way. The future is female. We need to rise, and we need to rise together. And we need to have a clear vision of the future in how we do that. So we can just drop in the chat. Any questions from anybody? Jodie's saying, well done. She really enjoyed your talk, Luz. Anybody have any question? Or what? I'd love to know what the biggest takeaway for you was. So Anita, Camilla, what was your biggest takeaway? You can just drop a few words in the chat or unmute yourselves. There's not many of us here this morning yet. So you can unmute yourself and talk to the real life Luz if you like.
I will unmute myself and jump in, Sally. How you going?
Hi, Jodie. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And Luz, congratulations on what an incredible journey and story. And I just wanted to let you know that when you were talking about your passion and your drive and how you can become a bit of a workaholic, I could really relate to that. I know what it's like to be a woman on a mission, and I just commend you for the incredible things that you've been through and your vision. I think that a vision is a really important thing to get a job done. So loved your story, Luz. Thank you.
Thank you, Jodie. Thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Thank you so much, Jodie. Thank you. Anita has a comment. Communication, and strong vision for the future. Thank you, Anita. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, communicating, and having that strong vision of the future. What about you, Camilla? She might be on
I'm here, Sal, and everyone. Look, thank you, Luz. It was just, again, the words inspirational don't seem enough.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But what my take home was empathetic communication. And at the moment, with everything that's going on, and, you know, our lives are just, we never know what is happening from one moment to the next, but to you know, place our feet on the world empathetically and to listen empathetically rather than through fear, you can just see it makes the world of difference and brings us all together. So, look, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Camilla. I completely agree. I mean, we live in a multicultural world. And you were saying at the beginning, Liv, that, you know, you found that hard, not just the language, but the cultural differences. But we live in a world now where everybody's culture is, you know, intertangled, and we need those empathetic ears. We can learn so much from one another if we listen empathetically and without judgment and without that right or wrong. Thanks, Camilla, for bringing that. Absolutely. So inspirational, Luz. So amazing.
Yes, it's very hard. And sometimes one of the key things that I will put in your shoulders is sometimes it's not easy to get Australian friends. It's not easy to get local friends when you have a strong accent, when you don't have the same hobbies and the same topics, and it be a migrant is a trip with ourselves and our confidence. So we are not necessarily confident enough to approach you. And this empathetic thing is probably to invite you to do the first step when you have an amazing migrant person in front of you. Yes, that you will be the person who broke the ice and to start a relationship. We have a lot to contribute to this country, but probably we need to learn how to engage and connect with you. Yeah.
I think one of the important things that you mentioned that isn't often talked about is you were talking about empathy and understanding a different culture, but you mentioned specifically physical body language as also being part of that communication and how it's expressed differently in different cultures. And I think sometimes that's not always picked up. And I'm thinking particularly how there are a number of Muslim people who live here, and whereas England, we will look somebody in the face and be open and smile, whereas if you meet a Muslim person, they will look away, because in their culture, you're actually being too intrusive and it's rude. And I think it's very small differences like that that can make a very big difference to communication. And it's not just verbal, and it can sometimes be necessary to understand, as you mentioned, Luz, those physical differences as well in body language.
Yeah, this non-verbal communication. We can learn how to write and read in English, but there are some non-writing rules, non-verbal communications that you need to pick, or this is why you need an Australian or a local friend who help you to navigate in this kind of learning by living. Yeah.
Such a good point. Thank you so much, Anita. Okay, well, I'm going to honor your time, Luz, and I will leave you. And for those of us who are still here, we're going to take a 20-minute break, and we'll be back for the next speaker at 10 o'clock. So please go for a stretch around. Yesterday, I made sure I walked around the garden and got some fresh air, but it was so hot. I just came back more sweaty and more hot. But at least drink water, keep hydrated, move your body a little bit, and we'll see you back here at 10 o'clock, 20 minutes from now. Thanks again, Luz. I'll speak to you soon. Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.